Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Cabinet meeting here on the Tuesday, the 29th of March at 2 p.m. We've got a pretty full agenda ahead of us today, looking at housing and also the future ways of working for the organisation. But talking about future ways of working for the organisation, as many of you will know, we had our employment committee yesterday. I'm delighted that after 35 years of loyal service to South Kesteven District Council, Richard Wiles is now our Chief Finance Officer, so I know we're all celebrating his success of the new appointment on the council, and we wish him well in that role as well. So, thank you. Otherwise, we shall move to the register of attendance, and apologies for absence, please, Amy.
Thank you, Leader. All Cabinet members are present as expected. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Therefore, moving on to agenda item number 2, which is the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 8th of February, looking at pages 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Do we have any comments or suggested amendments to those minutes? I've got proposers, Councillor Stokes. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Dobson. Could all those who are present indicate to be in favour, please? Thank you. And then any abstentions, please? That's 2. Thank you very much. And therefore, moving on to the disclosure of interests. So if you do have any throughout the meeting, then please do not hesitate to disclose those during the meeting. Otherwise, we will move on to items for Cabinet decision, which are key. And the first being the outcomes of the 2021-22 corporate plan review. And I think it's incredibly important that our residents can easily access and clearly understand our plans and ambitions, which is why it's so crucial to keep our corporate plan up to date. And I think one of the first things that we did as an administration under my leadership and alongside the Chief Executive and her team was to create a corporate plan. As a district, we've not had one of these for quite some time, and it clearly states out our ambitions for the period up until the next election as to what we wish to deliver and really to make our district one of the best places in which to live, work and visit. Obviously, the corporate plan was agreed on a cross-party basis and went through the various committees and council in terms of the level of ambition and scale of what we wanted to achieve as an administration. A lot of work has gone into examining every line of our current corporate plan, and the proposed amendments address the actions that have been completed or instances where contexts have changed. And I think it's really important to note that the corporate plan is a living document. So it will adapt and change over the lifetime of the plan. Because as we all know, what happened when we were all elected in 2019, we could not have foreseen a pandemic to hit us all as it did. So with our recent restructuring reviews and the decision to bring Investors K back in-house, we're now able to set our sights on other areas and continue to work towards our existing priorities. We have entered the new financial year with optimism, despite the challenges felt by all of us and our residents, and indeed the world. So clarifying and updating our corporate plan will help us to update what it is we wish to achieve, how we will do it, and how we will then communicate it to our residents. So do I have any comments or points that anybody would like to raise on the corporate plan? Councillor Reid.
Thank you very much. Page 5 or page 23, we've got the balloons, and the second one in is 17 million for maintenance on existing council homes. As you quite rightly say, this is a living document, and I'd like to just for clarity, say that this is likely to change with the stock condition report. Secondly, investing 52 million to fund new build social and affordable housing. I presume that figure in there is a partnership between private and council, and I wouldn't like it to be misconstrued that anybody suddenly thought we were going to be spending all of that on council properties. Subject to that, thank you very much.
No, I think that's it. And as we all know, with the housing work that you and the team have led, we've got particular challenges around our housing, and we need to get it back onto an even footing. And of course, the ambition of this organisation is to build more council homes, but we need to correct the rights in terms of what's been going wrong in some of our existing stock to then build future homes for families as well. But I'm very pleased that, later this week, we're also going to see some new build council homes in Bourne later this week, aren't we? So exactly. Councillor Whittington.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Leader. Just obviously one thing from my area, obviously under the clean and sustainable environment section, at some point when we get further clarity, it'll be the implementation of the effects of the 2021 Environment Act and all of the potential different ways in which we'll have to collect various waste streams. But as you said, Leader, this is a living document. So when we know further clarity, when the government publishes the response to the consultation, we'll probably know more and be able to update the corporate plan accordingly at that point. Thank you.
Chief Executive.
Thank you, Leader. Can I just clarify the document that you have in front of you, the actual corporate plan, that document hasn't changed. The part that you're being presented today is with a revised action plan with the new actions, some taken out that have been completed and the ones that have been brought in, and of course the monitoring. So the main document is up for review in this coming year or starting next week in that year 2022-23. But what we've brought forward now is the revision of the action plan. And as on page 13, it approves the relevant overview and scrutiny committees to monitor and review the new actions. But the important thing is it's about reflection and the update of the action plan at this stage, not the whole main document. If you refer back to the whole main document, there was quite a bit in there at the time when we drafted it around COVID-19 and our COVID-19 response. And I think, as Councillor Reid said, there's a lot more information come to light in reference to our housing service and how we're expending our HRA account. So that will be all brought into the revised copy of the main corporate plan over this net in 22-23. But just, Chairman, it's a focus on the action plan at this time.
No, thank you. And I think the important thing is that, even the existing corporate plan, though, we need to keep it as that living document and refresh it as and when we need to do so. Councillor Dobson.
Thank you, Chairman, Leader. If you look on page 21, could I just suggest that we alter the first line where it says the events of the past few months is now 2 years, isn't it? Should we just change that? That's page 21 or page 3 of the document. Sorry.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to get a refresh of the corporate plan document, and we're going to bring that back to a future cabinet meeting to make sure that is fully up to date.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader. Councillor Dobson, yeah, as I just explained, was the main documents. There's been no changes to the main documents. It's just the changes at this stage to the action plan. So if you refer to pages 39, 40, and 41. And then in your main report, which is clarity around the actual new ones. So on page 15, it's on section 3. On section 2 will show you where the completed actions are. Section 3 of that report shows the actions proposed to be removed, where there's been consultation, and then new actions, and you'll see that there's 2 new actions proposed. So at this stage, it's the action plan that's refreshed, and then the full refresh of the corporate plan, because the corporate plan is a document up to 2023. So then that gets refreshed this full year. So picking up those points, we'll be doing workshops yet again to ensure that the evidence that we're using, we've got good informed decisions, and we need to refresh that the priorities are still where we want them to be as an organisation.
Councillor, no. Do we have any further comments on this document? So I will take it that we are all happy with the recommendations on page 13, which is obviously points 1 and 2. Therefore, I'm very happy to propose the outcomes of the corporate plan review. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Wharton, thank you very much. And therefore, all those in favour, please do indicate. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Therefore, moving on to agenda item number 5, which is the integrated housing management system. And I'll hand over to Councillor Reid, please.
Thank you very much, Leader. This started a journey with me last September when I went to the Institute Chartered Housing Conference in Manchester, and I actually saw the system and its capabilities, and indeed its inclusiveness for all users, both officers and indeed our tenants. Cabinet will know the housing improvement journey this council has been on, and I'm sure understands the importance for us as a landlord to have a robust computer system to enable us to make data-led decisions and improve our customer service. I am pleased to present for Cabinet's consideration the contract award resulting from the procurement process from the integrated housing management system. This is used right across our social landlord activities, for example, rent billing and collection, void management and responsive repairs. Procurement process commenced in December last year, 21, and has been completed through a complete framework from all of the main suppliers listed and able to submit a bid for the contract. And indeed, it's a timely point at which our Assistant Director, Craig Spence, joined us, and this was his first major task to help us with. The contract requirements were consistent with the corporate plan theme of delivering a high-performing council, and objectives are covered in the report. But I do highlight one in particular, namely for us to enable continuous improvement to the service delivery. This is so important. The outcome of the procurement exercise is the proposed award of a 7-year contract to Arian UK Limited for this product. The total cost is £776,981. The implication period is expected to be 12 months, with it proposed to go live in April 2023. This is going to be a far better system and a far better way forward than the fragmented Northgate system, and indeed upgrading it. And we shall, during the year of its integration, be loading the system with factual, accurate information so that when we do go live in April 23, it will go ahead on time and indeed be of a great benefit to us all, particularly to members in the information they seek and require, and where inquiries are concerned, the status of when they were raised, how they are being addressed, and indeed when the cases are closed. Just the same information will be accessible to the tenant, and our tenants will know their financial position. And of course, it'll take great weight, all being well, for those that have computers in their home, of many housing inquiries off our CST system as well. So I look forward to any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them along with our Director, Andrew Cotton. And over to you, Leader. Thank you.
No, thank you, Councillor Reid. I think we're all aware of the challenges that the council has faced as a social landlord, and I welcome this report. It's evidence of both the way we are transforming our landlord services and as our evidence of our ambition to provide top class service to our tenants. And I know from the strategic compliance meetings that we have together with some of the team, the value of data and the good quality information in our interactions with the regulator of social housing as well. And naturally, we as a council want all of our IT systems to support our frontline officers in the work that they do in the delivery of our services, but also at the same time to best be cost effective and also good value. So the procurement process we follow ensure this, and I very much look forward to updates on the rollout of the projects and to implement the new housing IT system. So do we have any further comments? Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Leader. It states the implementation stage is expected to be 12 months with a target date of April 2023, which is when the contract with Northgate finishes. Are we absolutely sure that the 12 months implementation is achievable? And also it states in the report that's a similar cost to what we're paying for currently. So is it a better system? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I have actually partly said that in the address that I've given, but it's always a lovely opportunity to reassure members that the time scale is definitely one that is achievable, and it is one that will actually be cost effective and probably won't cost us any more than the Northgate system has done that is fragmented. Thank you.
Councillor Whittington.
Yes, thanks, Leader. Councillor Reid, as part of the implementation, is there going to be any dual running of the two systems so we can?
Yes, there certainly is. As soon as hopefully this is dealt with today, we shall be onwards and upwards as for the beginning of April. Thank you.
Do we have any further comments on agenda item number 5? No. Then Councillor Reid, you're happy to propose agenda item?
Yes, I'm very happy and delighted that we've got to this point, Leader, to be able to put this proposition forward, and I look forward to a seconder to the recommendations as said.
Have a seconder, please. Councillor Stokes, thank you very much. Therefore, moving to the vote, so all those in favour, please to indicate. And that is unanimous. Therefore, we move on to agenda item number 6, which is the, 1 second. Which is the empty home strategy, and we'll go to you again, Councillor Reid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In presenting this item, I think it was amongst the many things that was on my list for the Chief Executive when she arrived. And I think it does actually touch the hearts of many councillors, whereby which we come across on occasion some homes that remain empty and for some very long periods of time in some events. I hope that Cabinet will approve the new empty home strategy for 22 to 2025, along with the delegation to the Director of Housing and Property for some small changes. This is a key agenda. It's a national agenda item and was in the Housing White Paper, ensuring commitment to improve our neighbourhoods. It allows empty homes to be brought back into use for additional housing, stopping them falling into disrepair, affecting the area and community. In the district, in February, we had 374 properties empty for between 6 months and 2 years, and 142 empty for 2 years or more, being a total of 516. This is an improvement on the previous year, as South 7 has one of the lowest rates within the county. However, it doesn't change the fact of when we have, as one example is a home that's been empty for 20 years. And indeed, we have taken we've taken legal line on this already. The strategy will allow the council to continue to improve and meet the aspirations of the corporate plan, housing that meets the needs of all residents. I think that's the second time I've said that this afternoon. And the key action, bring private sector empty homes back into use. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing of any dialogue or answer any questions. Thank you, Leader.
Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Leader. On page 68, point 2.1, it states that the strategy was considered and supported by Rural and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Committee on the 7th of October 2022. Should that be 2021? And also on page 73 of the draft strategy, I mean, I welcome the strategy. I think it's really good. It states of 526 empty properties, of which 21 were council owned and have been empty for more than 6 months. Can you just give me just a brief explanation as to why we have 21 council owned properties that have been empty for more than 6 months, please? Thank you.
With the greatest of pleasure. It is down to some complex void situations that when the state of these properties are handed back to us, take a very long time and some major improvements. It's a sad story to have to say. And again, it gives me the opportunity of reminding tenants that are leaving our properties of the value it is to future ones, and then being able to live in them more quickly when the ones that they've lived in, they've left in a reasonable and proper manner. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I think for me, of course, the Strategic Housing Authority for SK, it's pleasing that we don't have so many empty homes across the district. Of course, properties do become empty for a variety of different reasons. And I know that this strategy is very much focused on long-term empty homes. Constituents naturally raise concerns with ward members in relation to potential antisocial behaviour that is sometimes associated with empty homes. So obviously, by us having a clear public statement confirming our approach and supporting the key action from our corporate plan is very positive. And I know, quite often when some of us will attend town or parish council meetings, the topic of empty homes often comes up because there are some that are just very clearly empty and ones that we definitely need to bring back into use. So it's a very welcome document. Councillor Reid, I take it you're happy to propose this.
Similarly, Leader, as item 5, I'm quite happy to propose this, and I look forward to a seconder. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
As
Councillor Wharton. Lovely, thank you. So we'll move to the vote then. So all those in favour, please indicate. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Therefore, moving on to the items for Cabinet decision, which are non-key, and the first one being the Local Government Association Corporate Peer Challenge. So I think for most of you will know that I've been talking about this for quite some time now. So since I became leader back in the September of 2019, I was very keen that we get a corporate plan here, a corporate peer review here at South Kesteven. I was also keen for a corporate plan as well. But the peer review was really notable just because, we'd not had one for quite some time as a local authority. We'd not also had one in public, which was open and transparent to both us as councillors, but also to officers and also to stakeholders that involve and engage with us as a district council. So it is a really comprehensive report that was done into our organisation back in November. And we do have to thank the corporate peer team that were involved in this, because each of them have identified different areas where they feel we are succeeding, but also where we've also got challenges as an organisation. And for us, it's about how we then move on and we reflect and we then develop ourselves to make us a better authority so that when they do come back to do that review, we are then hitting the mark as to where we should be as a local authority. I was delighted with the engagement that they had, not just with myself and the Chief Executive and her management team, but also with a lot of our stakeholders, from charitable groups to businesses to just local stakeholders that were interested in the progress of us as a council. Because I think by us taking that mirror to us, it means that we can actually really recognise where we can improve. And, special thanks need to be put to Stephen Baker, who's the Chief Exec of East Suffolk Council, Councillor Abby Brown, who's the leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council, Kirsten Burnett, Paul Ellis, Stephen Cooper and Francis Marshall from the LGA. It was a refreshingly honest document about where we are to date. We've got some fantastic plans in terms of where we're going, and we've got a fantastic baseline as to where we are starting from. And I know that as a council, we can be one of the best districts in the country by us continuing this continuous development, by focusing on the priorities that we've got aligned in the corporate plan, and by creating the management team for the future on both the political and also the professional side as well. So obviously in front of us, we also have the next steps in terms of what we need to do, what we've identified, and the timeline. Obviously, this was drawn up with members as well. I know some of you will have attended those workshops, and it was also refreshingly honest to see how the cross-party working was happening at those as well. So really, I'm just interested to hear of any views or comments about the peer review and also the next steps in terms of what we need to do to improve. Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Leader. This is a great action plan. Just to pick out a few action points that falls into my own area. The relationships between the council and the community's voluntary sector during COVID and beyond has been incredible. And we've all committed to developing these relationships further and increase engagement within our community leaders. Recognising the amazing work that our staff have undertaken, their passion, their commitment to South Kesteven is key and part of the people strategy and action plan. And we're listening to what our staff need to give 100% by adopting a new hybrid working model and flexible working arrangements. We launched the SK Community Awards last year, and I'm pleased that we're establishing an annual staff awards event to celebrate the incredible achievements that our staff have made. This action plan is focused on improvements across the whole council, and it needs to be a living document. It focuses on the areas where we can do better, but one thing is really clear. The peer review has confirmed that actually we have a lot to shout about and be proud of. Thank you.
Councillor Trollope-Bellew.
Thank you very much. I'd like to echo what Councillor Mason said. To me, I think it reinforced some of the concerns that we probably had anyway, and maybe brought us to look at other issues that maybe we had not thought about, or possibly didn't think that it was as important as maybe it was to others. I would like to thank everyone involved in this, because I think they did a really fantastic job, and it really has opened my eyes, and I think my fellow councillors. Thank you.
Councillor Reid.
Thank you very much. Well, taking a extract from our fellow councillor Annie Mason to shout about. Item 9, recognise and celebrate the significant progress made whilst keeping the focus to maintain momentum. You know, there has been an enormous effort on this journey, and in this particular lifetime of this cabinet, to actually do that. And I look forward, as I'm sure other members do, to using this as a way forward and as helpful advice to us achieving more as we go along. And I'm sure under these pressing times, there'll probably be some changes that we will adapt as we go. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of a revisit in September. Thank you very much.
Okay, got no further comments. I think that the final thing I would just like to add is, you know, it is an incredibly open and transparent process that we've been through. And I think, you know, by us doing this in that way, you know, we will succeed together. This is the first proper review that I've seen of this organisation in. I mean, I've been on the council now for 11 years. So for me, it was really important that we did do this. And yes, we were delayed slightly by COVID. But it shows we've got fantastic foundations, and actually a lot of what we need to do as well is about addressing not just ways of working, but also the culture of the organisation as well, both internally and how we are seen externally as well. So I'm looking forward to working with you all and with Karen and her team in enacting the recommendations moving forwards. So I'm happy to propose the corporate peer review agenda item, and then I don't know if we've got Councillor Stokes will second. So all those in favour, please. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Therefore, we move on to matters referred to Cabinet by the Council, Overview and Scrutiny Committees, which we have none at this meeting. Items for information, and then we'll move on to agenda item number 8, which is key and non-key decisions taken under delegated powers. So we just have 2, which was the first one was a property maintenance reserve release of funds, which is Councillor Reid's shopping list of items. And then the second one is the utilisation of the street scene reserve, which was taken by the Deputy Leader. Do you have any comments on those items? No? Okay, so that is just for noting. Therefore, we move on to agenda item number 9, which is the Cabinet Forward Plan for the period of the 14th of March to the 13th of March 2023. Again, this is just for noting. Do we have any comments on the forward plan? Councillor Reid.
Yes, we were scheduled, I think, to make 5 agenda items for this one. So that's one of the reasons that we've pushed back a couple of these. But it does show the magnitude that the housing department is bringing through Cabinet, and indeed the velocity of work in our culture changing situation to provide a better service and well cared for homes in our district. Thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So before we go into closed session, I do just have one item that I've allowed to go forward, which is in terms of an announcement in terms of the changing place toilets. So for those of you that aren't aware, I'm delighted that South Stephen will be receiving £160,000 of funding to deliver new changing places toilets as part of a £23.5 million national investment the government has confirmed earlier this week. And changing places are larger accessible toilets for people who cannot use standard facilities. They are equipped with hoists, curtains, adult-sized changing benches, and can support both users, their families, and carers. There are currently 1,300 changing places toilets in England, but this announcement will provide funding for a further 500 rooms across England. And the new rooms will be delivered across a range of public venues, including cinemas, galleries, shopping centres, museums, visitor centres, beaches, parks, and other entertainment spaces across the UK, ensuring those with severe disabilities have the resources they need to enjoy public amenities. And Muscular Dystrophy UK is working in partnership with the government to deliver the additional spaces and are supporting local authorities in providing technical advice and training. I would like to put on thanks our thanks as the District Council to our local MP Gareth Davies, the MP for Grantham and Stamford, who was chasing up ministers earlier this week to find out about our funding allocations. I'm delighted that that has now been confirmed. I'm delighted that we will then be able to provide funding for 4 changing places toilets across the district. Obviously looking at the towns around the district and locations to be confirmed in consultation with the department, but it's a really positive message. And only the other day actually met a few parents from Grantham and they were explaining to me the challenges of changing their adult children actually without proper facilities. And it is, you know, your hearts really go out to them for the challenges that they face. So by us getting this funding means that we can support them to live their lives in a much easier way and support them as well as residents of our district. So I really am pleased. But Councillor Reid.
Yes, equally like you, Leader. I am too. This isn't the first time we've spoken about changing places. Indeed, it's something that's been one of our aspirations and one of the things we've actually wanted to bring forward. And we had spoken previously about a pilot to the Grantham Mears Leisure Centre being one. So the fact that we've now got 4 here is a real triumph and really a good news story. So thanks to everybody. And I know, like you, the benefits for people that need extra space will be greatly valued.
Thank you, Robert. Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Leader. I'm over the moon at this news, I really am, but I want to give thanks to Carol Drury, who submitted the bid. She put a lot of work into this, and I'm over the moon that we've been awarded it, because we've got lots of disabled families in the district, and it would be a great benefit for them. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think we all, I must have missed that off my thanks list there, but no, our thanks do go out to Carol as well for getting this funding, because, you know, without it, we just simply wouldn't be able to do it and actually support the families that really need this vital support. Okay, so that is just for noting. Therefore, as we've concluded all of the public business today, under Section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the press and public may be excluded from the meeting during any listed items of business on the grounds that they were to be present. Exempt information could be disclosed to them as defined in paragraphs 1 and 2 of Schedule 12A of the Act. I'll propose that we go into closed session. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Stokes, and all those in favour, please. Thank you very much. That is unanimous. So for those of you tuning in at home,